So you can see that I went ahead with our addition to our table here and added a little bit of formatting to make it kind of fit in with the rest of our table motif, but to kind of change the color to show that we're showing different data. So the next thing that I want to talk about is how we generate tables. So if I go back to this sheet, you're going to see how this table was generated, right? So I'm going to talk about how to generate tables, okay? So the way that you really do this is you just select a group of data and then you insert a table using that data. So let's say for our top 5, I wanted to show on a table the confirmed, the cases per 1 million recovered and deaths, right? I'm just going to click and drag to grab all of the data that I want to put in my table. Go the US down to China, make sure it's selected. I'm going to go up here and click on insert. I'm going to click chart. And now you're going to see that it actually created this chart. Now, a couple things that I want to point out about this chart. You're going to see that you've got this confirmed cases per 1 million people, recovered deaths, and it's color coordinated, right? So that's how easy it is to create a chart. Now we can go here where it says chart type when this pops up. We can click on different types of charts. We can take this one, we can make it horizontal instead of vertical. There's a whole bunch of different options on here, and you can pick the one that best fits the type of data that you're trying to display. So for our purposes, we'll just go back to this original one, right? So it's that easy. Now, I do want to point out a couple of other things that you can do when you are creating charts. So let's say, for example, we can just click on this and click delete and it'll delete it, that we didn't want to actually show all of this information. We just wanted to show, because we're talking about our top 5, right? And we were just talking about confirmed cases and deaths for our top 5. So let's say for these countries, we only wanted to show a graph that displays our confirmed cases and our deaths, because our other chart here is actually more concerned about those two categories, right? So one way to do this would simply be, as we talked about in the other videos, would be clicking on it, getting this hand over it, just clicking and dragging this column to be next to confirmed cases. And then all we're going to do is grab just those 2 data points. All right, US through China, insert, chart. It's going to generate our chart. And there we go. Now, there's another way to do this that I'll show you really quick. And that is that I'll go back until it, so see how this column's still over here? I can actually skip these columns by doing this. I'm going to only grab my confirmed cases through China. I'm going to leave that. Now I'm going to hit the control button. And when I hit control, it allows me to select another piece of data over here without selecting the in-between. So only now what I've selected. Now I can go to insert, chart. And just like that, I've got the same table. So I didn't necessarily have to move that column over. All right. So now I want to show one more thing. If you look at this chart, you'll see that because of our data range here going up to 400,000, we can't even see our red line for Germany because they have so few deaths by comparison to our total range here. So a quick thing to look at is going to be, we can click on this customize in our chart editor. And this is our vertical axis up and down, right? This is going to be our horizontal. So if we click on our vertical axis and we scroll down, you can see where it gives us our range values that we can choose. So I want to get rid of all this extra space that I don't need that goes up to 400,000. I can just click on this. My minimum is obviously going to be 0. And now I want my maximum. Let's see, my maximum value is 305, 341. So I'm just going to put my maximum at 310,000. Make sure you don't put any commas in here when you're doing this. Now when I hit enter, now you can see that I can actually see that little bit of my red there, right? So now I'm going to exit out of this. And now I can click on here and I can drag it. So I'm just going to drag it to make it look nice and set up. And there we go. There is my chart. For a little extra flair, I'm going to edit my chart and I'm going to go to customize. And when I go to chart style, I'm going to change my border to black, and I'm going to change my background color to a little bit of off-white gray, just kind of separate it from the white background behind it. And there you go. That is how we go from what we had originally to generating a chart and formatting in a way that we can look at it and it represents our data again for our top 5. So you'll notice on these charts, just a couple of things. You'll notice that the name of the country is listed underneath to show that, and then you've got your confirms and deaths. You've got your blue and your red that indicate which one's which, and you've also got the label next to it. So that's the basics of how to use data from a table and generate a chart on Google Sheets.